Hi there, I'm Debbie Waldman, and now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I wrote my picture book, A Sack Full of Feathers. Writing a story can take a long time, although long is what we call a subjective word. That means my version of long or my definition of long is probably different from yours. But I spent about 4 years writing A Sack Full of Feathers. Part of that is because I was doing other kinds of writing at the same time. I couldn't work nonstop on a picture book. But I tend not to work nonstop on anything. I always have a few writing projects on the go so that when I take a break from one of them, I'll always have something else to work on. And it's very important to take a break, to step away from what you're writing. The longer you take, the more clearly you can see what it is that needs to be changed or fixed. A few days is a good break. A week is even better. But let's face it, sometimes you don't have that much time. So even a half hour is good if that's all that you have. It allows you to come back and read your work with what I call fresh eyes. And fresh eyes are a key to revising. Revising is one of the most important steps in your writing. For me, it's the most important. It takes the most time, certainly more time than writing the first draft. That's because the first version is never the final version. You need to polish your story to make it as good as it can be. When I'm revising, I almost always read my work out loud because it forces me to focus on every single word, and it helps me to figure out which words I need and which ones I can cut. When I'm writing a picture book, that's especially important. As you know, picture books rely on pictures as much as they rely on words. In fact, some picture books don't have any words at all. My picture books, on the other hand, tend to have lots of words, more than 1,000. When I revise, I take out some things and I add in others. I rework what's already there to make it better. Sometimes I change the angles, sometimes I emphasize some details that didn't seem important in the first version, or the second, or the third, or the 43rd. When I'm writing a picture book, I also know that when the illustrator gets involved, I'll have to cut even more words. I'll tell you about that in my next video. When I'm writing either a picture book or a longer book, sometimes I'll take out entire sections of the story because they just don't work. I save them, though, so that if I want to, I can go back and reinsert them, or I can use them in another story. Sometimes, though, I throw away everything I've written. I throw away the whole story because it just doesn't seem to be working. And then I start again from scratch, but not really from scratch, because the work that I no longer need, it's helped me to realize what I have to do to make the story better. It might not be there in the actual final version, but what I did before informs what's there now. I used to think that writing and throwing things away was a waste of time, but I've learned a lot in the more than 40 years that I've been a professional writer. And one of the most important lessons that I've learned is that writing a story is like going up a flight of stairs. The best way to get up those stairs is to step on each step. Take each step. Maybe I can skip one step at a time, but if I'm in a hurry and I try skipping 3 or 4 steps, I'm going to lose my balance and I'm going to fall right back to the bottom and have to start over again anyway. I think that's how it works for most people. Don't lose your balance. Take every step. Write as many versions, as many drafts of your story as you have to. And then when the story is all ready, you can think about turning it into a book. I'll talk about that in my next video, about the mechanics of how a book goes from this, words on a page, to this, a picture book. Thanks for watching.